Path of Exile 2 just looks absolutely amazing. New classes, new everything, and it's gonna be a blast.
Look at the Zizarain video about Path of Exile 1 and 2.
Hi,
Okay.
Zizern here with another video straight from ExileCon, and today we're going to go over all the announcements step by step, all the POE 2 announcements, and we'll have a separate video
Looks
for
good.
the upcoming POE 1 league. Obviously, we don't have the patch notes and stuff for that yet. There's a lot of cool stuff here, so they blew everyone's expectations away.
Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate, with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues.
I
And
honestly
there's a
think
lot
that's
more
good.
than we could have ever imagined. I was not expecting that they would split the game.
I wasn't either. I was really surprised that they did that. I thought that they were going to just transition. It was going to be like Overwatch 2, where like the game just transitions into this. I'll be very curious to see how, like, you know, a year into PoE 2 and PoE 1 running simultaneously, I kind of worry that, you know, there's going to be like concerns, right? People are, oh, this game's getting more attention, that game's getting more attention. I'm very concerned about this. I think it's a
good thing. Overall, I think PoE 2 being a separate game is the best decision that they could have ever made. Because PoE has a problem that there's literally no new players playing it, okay? There's only returning players. No new player wants to go into the game and understand how long they need to spend to be even semi-understanding of the game because of just the sheer amount of things you need to read about the game so you know how actually things interact. Which is, by the way, not actually a skill thing. It's just no one wants to spend 10, 20 hours reading Wikipedia so they can make a Path of Exile character semi-decently good at the very end. And PoE 2 is not going to have this bloat. And that's the greatest thing ever.
big risk.
Don't know how I feel about that. Honestly, professionally...
There's different teams. Yeah, but there's different teams, but there's this... I'm not talking about how the content is. Because the perception is more important than reality.
I don't know what he tried to say, but I know what he wanted to say. He wanted to say that the risk here is obviously like this. If PoE 2 becomes more popular than PoE 1, that less and less resources are going to be diverted to PoE 1. Because why would you input the same amount of resources in something that has 1/10 of the player base? It just doesn't make sense.
This is a very good thing for me. But other than that, I don't know how I feel about it. I obviously, objectively, it's a very good thing for me, right? Because there will be less downtime between leagues. And that is the main takeaway here, because that's a big issue.
ARPG players are eating good. Bro, ARPG YouTubers are popping the fuck off. Because now...
There's everything.
Like, you had Lost Ark, so you have an MMO ARPG. You have Diablo 4, so you have a mainstream ARPG.
I don't agree about the Lost Ark thing. Like, the average person who plays Diablo looked at Lost Ark and literally pissed themselves and instantaneously stopped playing because they understood, oh wow, this game actually has mechanics. Oh wow, I don't actually want a challenge. Woohoo!
You have PoE, you have like a massive depth ARPG, and now you're having PoE 2, a massive depth ARPG that's going to be probably larger mainstream, and you've got another dark horse, which is last...
I said this again. Don't repeat it because this is a very unpopular opinion. PoE 2 looks more Diablo 4 than Diablo 4. We're not actually getting a PoE 2. We're getting a PoE Diablo 4.
Epoch, which is like, and go back literally a year ago, and all you had was PoE. It's actually crazy how much things have changed.
Game is that well, they're kind of forced to play other games, right?
Spears, please, yes, mommy.
As a veteran player and like someone like me, and now we're gonna have that as less of a problem because there's gonna be 6 weeks between PoEs and constant things happening, right? Well, there'll be more than 6 weeks, but there'll be way less of a gap now. So they will have separate balance, separate release, separate leagues.
How is he a prisoner if he instantaneously broke the chains?
Content and offset releases, so you can go from PoE 1 to PoE 2 to PoE 1. You'll throw in some D4 and other games that you want to play, like Tarkov, RuneScape for me, etc. And all purchases carry over to both versions. Now, they did mention, obviously, there are some things like the Druid, right? If you buy a Druid cosmetics, like maybe you can turn into a polar bear instead of a grizzly bear, then that will not be available in PoE 1 because we don't have shapeshifting there. And we have 6 new classes in PoE.
Look at that fucking bird, bro. That's a good looking bird.
The warrior, the huntress, the
Dude.
sorceress, the mercenary, the monk, and the druid. And there were so many things they just kept blasting us with. 15.
I saw something called Wizard Blade. I didn't click on the video, but I saw something called Wizard Blade. Is that just bait? Or is that real? Or Spellblade, sorry, Spellblade.
100 new passive skills, a new campaign with over 60 bosses. There's going to be so much endgame stuff coming out of that too, right? That they can reuse.
Yeah,
full new campaign, more difficult than before. It was a lot more difficult than before. I did get to try it. I have a video of me playing it up.
Yeah, I hear that the PoE 2 is going to be basically like Ruthless. Which
Not
is
happening.
Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't want...
That's not true. Everyone's always... this has been said, right? Ziz said it, I think everyone has said it, that the version of PoE that they played here right now, Visible, is extremely overtuned. You know, it's actually going to be way easier. You know, I have absolutely nothing against a ruthless game, but I don't know, this game has checkpoints and stuff. Doesn't sound exactly, you know, ruthless per se.
Want to go and make an opinion about this because I haven't played it yet. And it's literally over a year out from release. So I like, this is the way I look at it, right? I trust grinding gear games to make a good game. And I also trust that in the times whenever they make mistakes, they...
Hey, the fact that Grinding Gear games made PoE and was a good game, most of its life cycle, again, there have been moments when PoE has absolutely felt like dog water. Do not forget that, PoE fanboys. But does that mean that they can make another game that's as successful and keep it as successful? PoE 1 has absolutely no say in that, okay? They may as well make an absolute dog stinker, you know? It's gonna turn out the same as Diablo 4. A month passes and everyone's like, there's not enough content, there's not enough interesting things to do. And that's most likely gonna be a problem. That most likely will be a real problem.
They will listen to the community and adapt from those mistakes. So I'm not worried about what I see here in any way, because I have faith in them to make the right decisions. I
tried to be better with the overlay than last time, and
Poor
it was
decision
crazy
making,
hard.
that's called.
Now they have said it's overtuned, so it should be easier. But, whew, 36 new ascendancies, so that's crazy. Absolutely
that's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
6-person.
Yeah, for example, like apparently
Maybe that
you need
was
to
the
use healing
Spellblade.
wells or something like that to replenish your flasks.
Yeah. Again, that's more Diablo 4 than PoE ever, Diablo 4 itself. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Again, unpopular opinion, I know, but PoE 2 is looking more like Diablo 4 than PoE.
Co-op like PoE 1. Dodge roll by pressing the spacebar. I don't know what that means for movement abilities, or maybe you can like enhance your dodge roll to be like flame dash, etc. Eventually, I really don't know what
that would be cool.
That,
yeah.
There's no cooldowns, no limitations, and
well, and like also, I think that that's a good thing, because how do you play PoE right now?
With just movement skills. Yep.
Well, now you have instilling flasks, right, or instilling orbs, but like, you know, before it was like this, right? You're just hitting your flasks over and over. You're piano flasking, yeah. All the time, they're up constantly. There's no real gameplay. It's just like making sure that you have all these things.
Yep.
And that's it. No Quicksilver? Did you know that? Yes, I did. I saw Empyrean's tweet.
That's good.
Has pathfinding so it doesn't get stuck, but that was not in one of the videos, so they did actually get stuck. But I think that's a slightly older build, right, that they show off to make sure that it's fully functional. And yeah, the strength, dex, int thing is kind of gone from what I understand. It's strength and int for Druid and Templar, dex and int for Monk and Shadow. Yeah. They start in the same location. And there's spirit as a new mana reservation mechanic.
Oh.
So you unlock spirit by killing bosses and items, and that's how you reserve mana. Like reserve auras. You don't have to like compete. You can have like unreserved mana and like, yeah. It's a pretty good idea, I think. I definitely like that.
Yeah, and it's again, like that is a direct response from if you see any build in PoE, unless it's an Archmage build, the entire mana bar is reserved except for this tiny little sliver, and then you have like cost reduction to make that little sliver mean a little bit more.
Yep.
gems drop uncut,
That's
and
true.
you right-click them and you choose what skill you want. I think that sounds like a really good idea as well. There's metagames as well, which is they can be modified to give skills
Yeah, I
different
kind of like
properties.
that.
So cast one, shock, etc. I managed to find spell echo,
Yeah.
which was lucky, and I will try to do some more playthroughs tomorrow. So out of the new classes, you have monk, very very fast, based around mobility, execute skills that ground power charges, so it's like culling. And the culling stuff is indicators as well.
Ooh, that
and
was
there's
big.
skills that are dynamic, so kind of similar to like the Fisher skill we have for Chieftain, right? Or, well, Chieftain uses it a lot. But like way more than before. Now, it is definitely a slower game. Some people are saying it felt a bit more like Dark Souls, and it kind of does to some degree.
Every game that has rolling is Dark Souls.
So very different than
Bruh, I think gamers have officially, by the way, lost it comparing Path of Exile to Dark Souls. One is a top-down game, the other is not top-down. It's like, how do you even compare this? Like, what part of your brain lights up to make these comparisons? I honestly, I didn't make the joke, but I honestly find it absolutely absurd, by the way, that people would compare, by the way, Lost Ark to Path of Exile. The games are literally nothing alike. They don't share even the slightest similarities except that they're top-down. And people are like, oh, well, like people compare Diablo 4 to World of Warcraft. That's insane. Like, boys, you need to stop comparing you need to stop comparing apples to, I don't know, Tesla rockets or whatever garbage you want to compare them to. Compare apples to apples. I miss the days when we compared apples to oranges and we're fine. Oh my god, this is just out of control.
what we're used to with PoE so far. I think this will make the most amount of people happy when you really think about it, because there are people that don't like PoE 1 and there's people that
raining,
don't
by
like
the
the
way.
direction PoE 2 is going.
Yeah, I think that's really grinding your games is in like kind of an interesting spot where they have a number of, in my opinion, degenerate gameplay mechanics in PoE 1.
Like 80%
for example,
of the mechanics that
spam
exist.
using flasks constantly all the time. So now you have to design the game with flask buffs being active all of the time. And then also, let's see, there's that. They had
the fact that every skill needs to be the main skill that clears and kills bosses.
to change Labyrinth because people were just trading Labyrinth, the keys, right, for like the
Labyrinth
different
sucks.
like portals, like of searing fucking flesh and stinging pain, etc. It was like, what was it, like General 304 or something like that. So there was that, and let's see, I think there's something he just mentioned here, but basically, oh yeah, having all of your mana reserved. Like, there are these weird things in PoE that just everybody does. And I think that they just effectively remove huge elements of content from the game completely.
A little bit worried about how the dev split's going to be. Like, are we getting two lesser quality games?
Well, no, they just become mandatory and annoying.
It's obviously a big concern.
If you don't use Outers properly, your character is going to be like 10 times weaker than it should be.
And they've changed the way like crowd control works on bosses now. You can like freeze bosses a lot easier.
I would really like to have a stagger bar. Hopefully they add that.
So that's like poise. And I see Scry here in my notes. He was like, make fun of Mark for dying on the demo, L nerd, but I died like 3 or 5 times. It's so hard. I'm like very, very impressed that I made it so far, because that was a boss too. I didn't even get to a boss in my demo. Now, boss rushing that you used to in PoE 1 is gone. You gotta restart from the very start. So yeah, Scry here, put L, softcore nerds. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. And I've heard, I wasn't at one of the talks, I didn't listen, I was too busy playing the card game and trying to get the Mirror of Calandra. Apparently logout macro is gone as well in PoE 2, so that's gonna be very interesting. The game's gonna be built more around it. Or maybe they just meant that it's a full reset when you log out. I'm not sure if you like stay in the game. But either way, that sounds really cool. Obviously, there would be a bad thing if you stay in the game for 6 seconds and disconnect, because then you just die every time your PC actually crashes.
Yeah.
I love the fact that, by the way, what we're seeing here is not going to be the representative of the game at all. Like, no one's going to do this garbage in the game in reality. Again, one of the degenerate mechanics that we currently have in PoE is that your character is literally one skill and one skill only. That's two thingies right here, but it's actually one. You're gonna use one skill for clear, you're gonna use one skill for bossing. And by the way, this was not the case, by the way, when PoE first initially started out, okay? You use, people had two skills. One for clearing, one for dealing heavy single target damage. Gone are those days, my friends. Now everything is AoE and single target. And I think that actually kind of makes the game cheaper.
Thankfully not a big problem for me, because I don't really have much instability or crushes, so not a huge problem there. But I really like the full reset. I think that's really cool. That's the way it should be. I think PoE...
Yeah, people shouldn't be able to use a logout macro as a...
True.
As like a reset for the fight without there being a cost to it. Like, I do think that logout macro, I would rather have people be able to cheese the game than the game cheese the player. So, like I've said this before, I think a logout macro is superior to what Diablo 4 does, which is letting people die to disconnects. I think that's garbage, and I would rather have a logout macro. But in that mindset, neither of these are perfect solutions.
One could add that too, like a full reset when you portal out or full reset when you log out. Sorceress as well, as a caster weapons, no longer has an attack, and you know, nobody's using melee anyway, right?
Yeah.
So they come with a free spell to cast. Now the free spell was not very good, but maybe there will be things to build around there too. So we have Unleash. It's like a cooldown thing you can use. So like every 10-15 seconds you get to like shoot 3 spells. I got Spell Echo, so when I had Spell Echo and Unleash, as you can see,
6.
can I just throw that in combat? Wait, okay, how does this work? Am I going at 6 or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah,
Very,
damn.
very decent. I do still think it should have more damage because the move's pretty hard to pull off because it has a long cast time. Now then,
By the way, they're gonna get rid of all the cast times. It's a neat thing to have, but they're gonna get rid of the cast times because no one's gonna like it. Everyone's gonna hate the cast times, so it's gone. Don't think that that's gonna last. They're gonna rework everything with cast time. Maybe not at the start, but at some point they will remove cast time as it is. There's not gonna be an animation that locks you in because people flat out hate that stuff. It looks cool at the start, but it's always... There are some certain things that always look cool at the very start, but after a week of actual play, everyone hates them.
a very cool feature with weapon swapping. Now, obviously, right now, we don't weapon swap because we want to level gems, and it's completely pointless. However, they made it very, very cool by the fact that your lightning skills can be set to use your lightning offhand, and there is some sort of like swap penalty, and that it felt a bit janky. Maybe it would just be nicer if they got rid of that and just favor swapping. With no downside, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. But very cool feature, and it's automatic. So you set like your lightning skill uses that weapon, and your cold skill uses that weapon, and it'll swap automatic.
It works the exact same as Barbarians and Diablo 4. Which, I mean, to be fair, like the Barbarian weapon swap in Diablo 4 is perfect.
And don't
like
play
Blizzard
Barbarians.
actually did it perfectly.
I don't know.
And the passive skills as well, like. I think, was it 20 skill points that are flexible, so you put...
This looks so better, by the way. Well, this looks still absolute ass. But, you know, this looks so better.
20 points into lightning on one skill tree and 20 on a cold on another. Very cool. We're getting the closed beta, starts June 7th, 2024. So it's a while away. There's going to be quite a lot of PoE.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think a lot of people need to realize is that, like, the thing with PoE is that the beta, literally the beta is not even going to come out for a year.
Yeah.
That's a long fucking time, man.
Yeah. I asked. It's pretty much 2 years. We have to wait for this 2 years. In which time, Diablo 4 probably will catch up.
Oh, just chill. If there's something that you're not a huge fan of, I think it's important to, you know, let the developers know as soon as possible. Definitely a good idea. However, it is not even close to a finished product.
True.
Yeah, they have time to improve it, and I think that they will improve it.
Till then, I will be making content for both games.
Yeah.
I'm nervous how this kind of goes. It's going to be a lot to do. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Most people here at ExileCon are pretty hyped. A lot of worries of gold is the main concern. I'm not a big fan of gold. I really... nearly every time when someone asks me what's my favorite part of PoE, I'm like,
The
currency.
gold.
It's such a cool system, and I love that.
I am a currency enjoyer. I am not a currency trading enjoyer. This might be a very unpopular opinion, might get me in trouble with a lot of the PoE fans.
The way that I understand that gold works, by the way, is you just get gold. You can still get the currency drops, but you get gold, and then you use the gold to buy the currencies that you want, which is technically a better system. Technically.
But I would be completely okay if there was a currency marketplace. But I do think that gear trading should stay the way it is. The reason why is because, let's be honest, guys. Most people that you're trading currency with are bots.
And it's
annoying.
Is
like
a bot.
So, hi.
I talked about it in the Warframe video. Every single PoE bot that every single time you buy currency on PoE, it's a bot that literally speculates with thousands of currency items on 0.1 fluctuations so they can real money trade.
I would like to buy your one exalted orb for my 140, or divine orb for my 147 chaos and, Crucible softcore league. Please respond. Hi, I would like to buy your one divine orb for my 154 chaos orb in Crucible League. Please respond. Hi, I would like to buy your one divine orb for my 155 chaos orb in Crucible League. Please respond. And it's insane. It really, it really sucks. It sucks to trade currency in the game. Especially whenever you're trading low-value currency. I think Chris will die on this hill. Then I'll respect his decision and probably continue playing the game. But I'm just saying that I think it would be an improvement.
Having gold. So very worried about that. But, worst case scenario, if I really hate PoE 2, I already know I love PoE 1. And that's been going in a pretty good direction lately, especially with Sanctum coming back core. But I'll make a separate video talking about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Sub if you liked the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I do. It's like a little bit of a delay on the skills as well.
Ooh, what was that affix that he had?
It's like a
oh, wow. They didn't even have an affix. Oh, look at that.
little bit of a delay on the skills as well.
And his corpse was poisoned.
Jesus.
And it's not even a hard
That's
boss.
great. Anyway, this was Kuzar Sid 7. Are we sticking around for what Asmongold says? Okay, let's stick around for here.
I think currency conversion, what is it, 8 chaos for 20.
See? No reason. Anyway, this was Kuzar Sid 7. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.